I'm Patrick.
This is Will.
And I'm Chris, and we are Guys with Character. And today, we're going to be talking about the character of Reed Richards, a.k.a. Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four. That stretchy, plasticky, not to be confused with Plastic Man. He's a DC character, okay? Or Elastigirl.
There's actually quite a few stretchy heroes out there.
Yeah.
It's true.
By no stretch of the imagination.
Oh, I know, right?
So, today, looking at Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. First, I think we do need to talk about the origin of the Fantastic Four.
And I
don't mean the origin from the comic, but how the comic came to be.
Okay.
Because what happened was Stan Lee was approached by his publisher, and they said, "Hey, our competitors have this super popular book going on right now called The Justice League. I'd like you to come up with a team that can be our Justice League. We need to sell a team book." And Stan Lee was like, "Well, I don't want to copy what they're doing because I don't want to do a team full of people with secret identities. That sounds lame. So these people are all going to be known. And I don't really want a damsel in distress kind of thing. And so I want the female of the team to be just as important as the rest of the characters. And we don't want like a Lois Clark thing. So how about they're already engaged? And we don't want like kid sidekicks, but what if we have a young team member who's, related to her? And then they'll be kind of familial because he'll be a brother-in-law once Mr. Fantastic gets married."
Nice.
And then he's like, "And I need a big wisecracking monster." That's
As we all do.
And that's how the Fantastic Four came to be.
You're welcome.
And the Fantastic Four is considered by many people one of the most recognizable superhero groups worldwide. They've had their heydays at times where they've been a big selling book. Back when they were created, they were super popular. And they tend to be a little bit more, they can be a bit more intellectual at times because, they're all like scientists and stuff for the most part.
Right.
So it should be like Patrick's favorite team.
Could be.
The science team.
I don't know. I haven't read
team. But yeah, pretty interesting. And Stan Lee, he teamed up with Jack Kirby, who's a comic industry legend, and he wrote the script, and Jack Kirby drew the pages, and that is how that happened. Fantastic Four, Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, debuted in Fantastic Four, issue number 1 in November of 1961. Silver Age gold mine. I just wanted to throw that. So,
yeah.
Reed Richards builds a rocket that can go to other planets. It's the first ship that can do that, and their funding's going to get cut, much like many hero and villain stories. Sorry, Mr. Freeze. And they're like, you know what? They can't cut our funding. We're going to launch it anyway.
Nice.
And so they get their rocket fired. Johnny Storm goes along because he wants to look out for his sister. And Reed Richards asks Ben Grimm to come along to help pilot. And they get hit by a cosmic storm where they are bombarded with cosmic rays.
Yes.
Yeah. Because that's how Marvel heroes get powers. Gamma rays, cosmic rays, radioactive spiders, like whatever. If there's radiation and rays, somebody's getting superpowers. Stevie Ray, cosmic bowling. That's how the Kingpin became
cosmic bowling.
Yeah, he got hit by a cosmic bowling. So anyway, they crash land, they come back to Earth, and they survive because they're genetic structure begins to mutate, and Mr. Fantastic is born from Reed Richards' bouncy molecules. So his powers, he's a scientist and an inventor. He has complete mastery of all scientific, engineering, and mathematical fields. So he is considered the smartest man on Earth in Marvel Comics and one of the smartest in the entire universe.
Nice.
Yep. He is stretchy, aka he has reflexive plasticity. He can stretch up to around a max of 1,500 feet. Then he starts to experience extreme pain.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a long stretch.
Very long way.
He has high durability due to his molecular structure. He can kind of heal fast. He can condense himself and kind of like speed himself up a little bit. And he can mold his body to almost anything, including his face. So he can sometimes probably for when the plot needs it, can even use disguises.
Sure.
Why not, right?
Right.
But his hubris is too great to make him want to look like somebody else, probably.
Sure.
I'm not a big fan of his.
I can tell.
Yeah, he's a bit too arrogant, in my opinion. So, but I guess when you are literally the smartest man on the planet, you can be kind of arrogant, I suppose. You're also probably not a great people person.
Probably not.
Like naturally.
Right.
Usually, if your IQ's that high, you got to give it up somewhere else.
Right.
So yeah, there you go. Powers and origin. Bam. What do you think of them apples? Stretchy. Yeah.
Right.
Chewy. Plastic.
Bouncy.
So, what's something notable that you have, Petruchio?
One of the arcs that I found was called Life Story.
Okay.
Which really, it begins in the 60s. Where they get their powers.
Bam.
From the space thing.
Cosmic rays.
And it jumps decades, like 70s, 80s. And it just shows notable things that happened throughout all of their comic runs. But it puts it into a timeline.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So they would be really old if it wasn't for comic time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, it ends up with them fighting somebody that if Will brings up, I will say that's who it is.
How does Will not? He's not ready.
He was just so interested in what I was going to say.
Yeah. And what did you say that one was called?
Life Story.
Life Stories?
Mm-hmm. No, not stories.
Just Life Story.
Yeah.
Oh, as singular. Even though there's
4 of them.
They share
they
one
all
life.
Share one story.
So who do you have, you villain?
One of their first main villains, big ones, is a guy named Mole Man.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have any huge superpowers, can't shoot beams or nothing, but he can communicate with these kaiju-esque mole monsters that live underground.
That's fun.
Some of them are as big as buildings, massive.
Sure.
And so he lives underground with them in some place called Subterranea or something. And he decides one day, he's like, I'm going to go up there and conquer the surface world, as all subterranean species do. And fights the Fantastic Four and probably does his best,
He's one of their very first villains, correct?
He might,
or is their first?
He's one of, if not the first.
Yes, that's what I thought.
The main notable villains.
Did you know that The Incredibles, at the end of the first movie, when the guy comes out of the ground with the drill and he's like, "I'm the Underminer," that is an homage to Mole Man.
Oh, is
I
it?
believe it.
That's fun.
That's actually what that villain is from.
Huh.
So there you go.
I am beneath you, but nothing is beneath me.
Yep, the Underminer. Also, homage to Mole Man. Mole Man.
Neat.
Good.
Yeah.
So you'll have to call it out if he gives it on the next one. What else did you bring us, Patrick?
So there's another one called 3.
Hmm.
Which, as you can suspect, it's...
Somebody leaves the team.
Yeah, we'll say that.
In a tragic way.
Probably.
Is it the one? I didn't see what issue it happened, but I did read that Doctor Doom in one storyline does kill Reed Richards.
No, that's not it.
Oh,
So it would be a different storyline. But yeah, it's this one is notable because it is a lot of interpersonal relationship stuff between the entire team.
It's about the team connecting.
Right. It mainly revolves.
Revolves.
Thank you. Around Ben and Johnny Storm, but
Interesting.
it has all of them in it. And then something happens at the end.
I like that you're like, I don't want to spoil
I don't want
things
to spoil
in case
things.
people
yeah.
want to read.
Exactly.
Yeah, I hope that people want to read Reed Richards, from listening.
Read.
That's the goal, right?
Right.
That's
It
the
is.
goal.
That would be good.
Who'd
Yes.
you bring us?
do you guys remember Blastar from
Yep. From
Guardians of the
Guardians.
Galaxy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of apparently the Fantastic Four and Reed Richards travel to the negative zone fairly often, so he's kind of a reoccurring villain. And
Nice.
I do remember him being kind of funny because he's all like, Blastar, blah blah blah. Yeah,
Pretty accurate. That
yeah,
was accurate.
It was.
Yeah, I could tell.
Yep.
Nice.
Okay. And then the third one that I have is called Unthinkable. And it is a story about Doctor Doom doing unthinkable things to a child.
What?
Yep.
Ooh,
He
get Chris Hansen.
uses a child to do his evil bidding.
Oh, not like that.
And guess what child it is?
The child of Reed Richards and Sue Storm.
You are correct, sir.
Yeah.
Dang.
Oh yeah.
It says it is one of the best Doctor Doom stories you can find.
Victor Von Doom, also known as the college roommate, I believe, one of the college friends and rivals of Reed Richards. But he
Yes.
gets expelled, and that's why he becomes his arch nemesis.
Yes, but there's actually several times in which Reed Richards has to suck up his pride and go to Doctor Doom for help. And
Yeah.
like that snob Doctor Doom is, he actually helps Reed
Sure.
Richards because he's like, I'm going to rub this in your face later.
Yeah, but they're both kind of like that, people-wise.
That's why they were friends at one
That's
point.
they're both just like always trying to one-up each other. Oh, good. Is he your next one?
I've mentioned him twice now, but
I like
There's
that
a-
you
there's
try
a-
to bring in some like fringe guy.
yeah.
I mean, these
there's
are
a-
main storylines, so you know,
Yeah.
There's
not gonna have
one of
those.
their wackier
Villains.
villains named Wizard, just calls himself Wizard, and he's not actually a wizard. He has no superpowers, but he's like a tech genius, and so he just makes like his own version of the Fantastic Four, but just with technology. And he was actually like a stage performer, like he was like a scientist or something, and then he used tech to do stage tricks. And then apparently just got tired of it. He's like, I'm just gonna be a supervillain now, and
as you do.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a good career path
Sure.
once you reach the limits of your others, I suppose.
I'm sure origin story wise, it's not the worst.
Or the rarest of that.
Right.
I've run out of career opportunities. It's time to supervillain.
I'm fed up with society. Let's do this.
Well, another notable thing that Reed Richards did was create the prison in the negative zone to house all of the Civil War arrestees.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's
he's
fun.
he's the one that created the negative zone prison.
Oh, the one that Guardians of the Galaxy kind of blow up?
Probably. Where Rick Flag or whatever, not Rick Flag, was it Rick Flag? What was his name?
It could have been Rick Flag.
I don't remember. But it might be.
That sounds like a wrestler.
Rick Flag!
it does. He's not wrong.
It doesn't mean that it's wrong, though.
No,
You're
it doesn't.
correct.
But I think at the
Or
end of
Union Jack. Anyway, that's a different character. Go ahead. At the end of what?
now that we're talking about it, I think Reed Richards does show up at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, like the last one we read where he escapes the prison and they like jump through the portal. And like Reed Richards is standing there and they're like, whatever you do, close that door and never open it again.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that was something that I didn't know if you were gonna do that. You got another
Nope.
villain?
I've got like, probably one of their strongest ones they ever had to go up against was a guy named Abraxas.
Okay.
He was he actually killed Galacticus.
Galactus?
Galactus?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like several times. Because
I love comic
Wait,
books.
what?
yeah, because he's like the embodiment of destruction.
Oh.
Right? So how not to keep bringing up Guardians of the Galaxy, but the one chick became like the embodiment of death or whatever.
Oh, Quasar.
Yeah, yeah. He basically did the same thing, but with like the aspect of destruction. And Galactus was actually keeping him sealed, and that's why Galactus would go around destroying worlds, so he could harness enough energy to keep him.
Is that what Drax is? Since he's Drax the Destroyer at that point in the comic, is it because he's the avatar of destruction? He was supposed to kill death.
Yeah.
So is it the same?
I didn't.
I don't know.
I don't either.
I didn't read anything about
Questions.
that.
I don't know that much about that level of Marvel stuff. Heck, I probably don't know that much about that level of DC stuff. That's where you'd be getting into like the spirit and all of that.
Yeah. But he actually would go through different like multiverse areas, like dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
And when they found him, he just had a bunch of dead like Galactus bodies everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah. And somehow they got something called like the ultimate nullifier, and unfortunately he lost.
I thought you were going to say, and he was nullified.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Something else Reed Richards did is he was part of the group, the Illuminati. Did you read about some of that?
Nope.
Like Doctor Strange and like Tony Stark.
Oh, actually, yes, I did. I just didn't write that one down.
And he's the one that sent the Hulk to space, caused Planet Hulk.
That's true.
See, I thought, since we read Planet Hulk,
Yeah.
I thought you were going to bring that up. Because then when Hulk comes back to Earth and starts World War III, then that's or World War Hulk, sorry. That is, he's hunting down Reed Richards and the like.
Sure, but that's not really a...
No, but Reed sent him to space.
I understand that.
That was notable.
Yeah.
Just like building the prison.
Okay.
He's always like part of the problem. He's always like dunking on other heroes. That's what, you know what I'm saying?
Oh.
He imprisoned other heroes in the negative zone. He sent the Hulk to space and caused a world war.
It's true.
He's also not that great of like an emotional person like Reed Richards,
no.
because like before we decided to do this,
Because he was born in the 40s.
yeah, I saw this story about there was one time that the Human Torch got hit by some gamma radiation from Doctor Doom while he was in the Human Torch mode, like flame on.
Yeah.
And he couldn't turn it off.
He was stuck.
And so he was stuck like that. So essentially he was the same as Ben, who's like always stuck in his, rock the thing mode. And so Reed had to build him a special room and develop this special formula, just like give him nutrients, make sure he stays alive. And
Was this in one of the movies?
I don't know.
Go
I
on.
don't- But
I remember a room, and never mind.
Johnny Storm kind of starts going into this like deep depression because he's always on fire. He can't really feel anything. Yada yada, and his sister is sitting there watching him through like this monitor, and she's crying. She's like, "Oh my gosh," she's like so depressed, so down. And Ben's like, "Nah, Johnny's a tough kid. He's gonna pull through this. You can look. You see, he's not even crying right now." And like a doofus, Reed Richards turns around and is like, "Oh, actually, he can't cry right now. It's against his biology. It just like evaporates outside of his body. So he probably would be crying if he physically could."
Yeah, that sounds right.
And Ben just looks at him like, "Are you stupid right now? I'm trying to like make
You're
your
the dumbest smart person here. That's funny.
yeah." So sometimes he is the villain.
So as a bonus fact, do you want to know when do you have another villain? You're looking at like you might.
I couldn't confirm whether this was real, but apparently there was one villain who went after Reed Richards specifically, and his name was like the Adhesive Mass or something. But
Nice.
I saw that
It's just
name
duct tape.
online,
Flex seal.
but I couldn't find what issues it was actually attached to or anything else about this villain. It's just like he once like merged with Reed Richards, and like that was it. So I don't know if that's real or if someone just like made that up because there was no issues or anything. Like I looked up the villain and it wouldn't show up for like
It didn't
Issue-
adhere to
yeah.
the history.
it just didn't stick.
So the other thing that I came across, this is a bonus fact. Reed Richards did either of you see what happens to Reed Richards in the 616 universe, the Ultimate universe?
I did not.
So Reed Richards in Ultimate Comics, because Ultimates has their own telling, but he ended up seeing the future and like a world destruction event.
Oh wait, never mind. I did see this.
And he, in desiring to thwart it, becomes like one of the main villains of their universe called the Maker.
Sure.
And because he'll go to any extent to like try to prevent this. But yeah, he actually becomes a super villain in the Ultimate universe.
Seems right.
And he gains the power of like some kind of multiversal travel. So he's the villain across multiple universes.
Yeah, I think I did see the Maker when I was looking up villains.
Yeah, that is him, Reed Richards.
Huh.
But anyway,
It was Galactus.
technically not the baseline one we're referring to.
Just saying.
It was Galactus.
Yeah, that first arc that I was talking about. It was the villain was Galactus
Oh, was it?
in the
He's-
story.
Silver Surfer and Galactus are tied to
Yeah.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And did either of you is Fin Fang Foom part of the Fantastic Four?
didn't
Either
see
of you see
anything
anything
about
about him?
No, I saw some goofy names, but not that one.
He's like a big dragon. I was thinking he was tied to them somehow. Anyway, guess not. Or maybe he was, but none of us read about it.
Who knows?
Well, there you go. Reed Richards, a.k.a. Mr. Fantastic, although he has no secret identity, just what he calls himself, literally decided to call himself that.
That tracks. I will have more next time. I was just strapped for time this week.
I thought it was fine.
No,
I
yeah.
didn't think there was any problem.
Oh, there was.
I think
So-
we all had enough to talk about.
I hope that you guys are ready for the character next week. You'll have to keep an eye on social media to see our teaser. Maybe you can figure out a hint. But it's definitely, I'd say it's gonna be a hot one. I like it. It's a good one.
I agree.
But anyway,
Anyway,
I'm Patrick.
and this is Will.
and I'm Chris, and we are Guys with Character.
Dum dum.